Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, lovers and seekers. Tonight we have a most curious fragment. The headline reads as follows: Twins, that is simple enough. However, the body of the text cannot truly be read out in English. But it can be described. How so? Well, picture, if you will, if you can, musical notation. That is, picture two sets of triplets, each identical in appearance to the other. So, for the body we have one triple, two triplet. Both look the same. Hopefully, this will suffice as an explanation of the body. So let us begin. 1. The strangeness of identical forms. The image shows two sets of triplets, three beamed notes with the numeral 3 above them, indicating they are to be played in the time of two notes of the same value. The upper image and the lower image are, to the naked eye, perfectly alike. Same shape, same rhythmic meaning, same number. Yet the fragment is titled Twins, and that title invites a certain kind of double seeing, because while twins may look the same, they are not the same. This is the paradox the fragment quietly invites us to wrestle with, the recognition of outward sameness and inward difference. 2. Music notation as metaphysics. On the page, notation is static. It is the frozen idea of sound, not the sound itself. The two triplet groups here, like identical twins in a photograph, can only be seen, but music exists in time. The moment we play them, something changes. The performance will never be exactly identical between the two, even if the score insists they are the same. The philosopher hears in this the broader human truth: unidentity on paper is never identity in life. One and twins may share DNA, but they do not share the same life. Two events may share form, but never the same moment. The fragment's oddity lies precisely in presenting a pair of perfect visual twins in a medium where actual sameness is impossible, because music happens, and happening is never repeatable. 3. The double exposure of meaning. Consider the headline Twins as a command, to see the top and bottom images not just as triplets, but as siblings. This humanizes the notation. It encourages us to think of them as born together in some sense, sharing a parent, the composer, or perhaps the idea of triplets themselves, sharing an age, sharing features. But the headline also invites the question: are they identical twins or fraternal? On the page they appear identical, but the experienced musician knows two triplets, even if written the same, may occur in entirely different musical contexts, different harmonies, dynamics, phrasing. Context transforms them. 4. Twins in human life and twins in thought philosophy has long used the metaphor of twins to examine sameness and difference, and Plato's forms imply that there can be multiple instances of a perfect idea, identical in essence, varied in execution. In Leibniz's principle of the identity of indiscernibles, if two things are truly identical in every respect, they are not two things but one. But here, the image confronts Leibniz. If the two triplets were truly identical, why would they be drawn twice? Why not one? The answer is that in music, place and time is itself a differentiator. The second triplet lives later than the first. That alone ensures difference. 5. Time as the true parent. If these two are twins, their real parent is time. In notation, they are frozen. But in performance, the first triplet happens, and then it is gone. The second arrives, fresh but already trailing the shadow of the first. This is where the fragment deepens. In life, twins share a birthday, but they do not share the same breath. Even moments apart, they enter the world in sequence, and sequence creates difference, one older, one younger, one arriving into a slightly changed room. In music, likewise, even the smallest gap between two identical figures changes their relationship. The second is shaped by the memory of the first. 6. The illusion of perfect repetition. The fragment shows us that perfect repetition is a visual trick. On the page, yes, the figures match pixel for pixel, but in the lived reality of sound, each is unrepeatable. The bow will press with a slightly different weight. The breath will carry a different color. The listener will hear the second in light of the first. This is the deeper oddness. The score pretends to sameness, while performance guarantees difference. Twins are like that too. Outsiders confuse them. Insiders never do. 7. On the number 3 above each set. The numeral 3 here is not incidental. It is a declaration of defiance against the ordinary division of time. A triplet in common time says, I will not obey the duple law. I will fit 3 into the space of 2. This makes the twins in this fragment not just siblings, but rebels. They share a common refusal of the standard division, a shared oddness in a world of evens. And perhaps this is part of why the fragment feels alive. We are looking at 2 identical acts of nonconformity. 8. The reverse reading. What if we read the image from bottom to top? Then the second becomes the first. We see that twinhood is reversible. Our labeling of older and younger is arbitrary. This reframes the fragment. Twins may appear in a sequence, but in our perception, that order can be flipped without loss of meaning. Applied to music, the order of notation matters for performance, but in conceptual analysis, we can study the second before the first and still understand the piece. 9. As a product of the Zero Friction Machine Company, if we place twins into the Zero Friction Machine Company catalog, it functions as a perceptual equivalence disruptor. Purpose: to challenge the observer's assumption that identical form equals identical essence. Operational effect: one operator shows the fragment. When the subject says, "They're the same," and the operator asks, "Are they?" This produces the cognitive jolt, the awareness that context, time, and performance destroy the illusion of sameness. In Zero Friction Machine Company field terms, this is a tool for destabilizing the lazy eye, the tendency to skim over repeated information without deeper engagement. 10. The hidden provocation. The real question the fragment plants in the mind is, if 2 things appear the same but you know they are not, how will you choose to treat them? In human relationships, this can mean resisting stereotypes about twins, siblings, or people from the same group. In ideas, it can mean revisiting the same concept twice without assuming you already know it. In art, it can mean treating repetition not as redundancy, but as variation in disguise. 11. The oddness explained. You called this most odd because the fragment straddles 2 worlds, the mathematical exactness of notation and the chaotic variability of performance. It is like photographing identical twins wearing the same clothes, and knowing that one is about to speak and the other is about to cry. The still image hides the unfolding difference, and that is unsettling. 12. Closing reflection. The fragment twins could have been called repeat or again, but twins keeps the focus on identity within difference, and difference within identity. It makes the 2 triplets human, relational, familial. It pulls them out of the cold logic of notation and into the warm, messy realm of lived experience. The lesson, if there is one, is this: never assume that what looks the same is the same. Time, context, and perception will have their say, and when they do, the twins will no longer be identical, they will be themselves.